Red Army says, never stop calling out cheating, sports washing at Oil State. The facts are all out there and their owners are getting scared what's coming, says Red Army. I'll be talking on my podcast about the cease and desist letter, and I'll have the letter for you on the podcast on Tuesday. So for anybody who's interested in that, Tuesday's podcast normally would be tomorrow, but it's a bank holiday. So I'll have the letter. I'm not scared. And at the end of the day, if it's the end of That's Football, it's the end of That's Football. But I will read the letter out.
I don't know if you guys have seen, but some of you guys, you better be prepared to apologize. Because the rumor has it is that Manchester City are about to be cleared of all charges. And some of you guys are going to be looking extremely, extremely foolish. Manchester City are so confident that they are preparing cease and desist towards the certain journalists if they continue. To Joey and many, many others, if I were you guys, I'd be careful with what I say. Because as per my discussions with the one and only MC FC, and this will like support. I don't know, Goldbridge. City are cleaning house. Absolutely confident in their position. It's been a long time coming, but the club has kept its powder dry for good reason. Owners of TalkSport and Sky TV have reminded their presenters and pundits of the language being used when discussing City's ongoing Premier League case. And this is what I was trying to tell you guys all along. There's freedom of speech, but only to a certain level. If you keep going on and blatantly lying, then actions have to be taken. Like I told you guys, you sit there like a bunch of sheep typing 115 and you have nothing to go off. You haven't done your research. And now what happens? Now you're going to look extremely foolish and maybe even worse. From what I have been told, within Manchester City, they are taking no prisoners. That includes even you guys. Yeah, keep typing. That includes you guys. I know you haven't got much to offer, but guess what? They'll sue you for every single penny, even if it's 10 quid. No delivery for you guys.
Basically, what's going on here is that we were talking last week about Man City and the Premier League and saying the 115 will take care of itself.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger issue because if they do get found not guilty or guilty, they've still won multiple Premier League titles. They're still a juggernaut. They've won again at the weekend on cruise control. They're miles ahead of everybody else. And that's a problem that's there with or without the charges. And I think that's a bigger issue because it's a Premier League issue. You've then got social media accounts listening into our podcast and then going, he's had a cease and desist letter, which has then gone around elements of the mainstream with that post, which has been proved to be inaccurate by other journalists saying it's not true that Man City have been cleared. Yeah. I think Mike Keegan has said that. And then I must admit, over the weekend, it got to a point where I thought on the podcast today, we would get the cease and desist letter out, which I have in my hands here now. And if you are on audio, it's basically invisible because there is no cease and desist letter. And I don't think there ever would be from any football club because the 115 charges, it's not defamation. They have been charged.